all kinds of events all over Christchurch and Canterbury through the course of a year, but she's always been a great supporter of WoodfordGlen.
Actually, on that note, I think there's a wee hot rod show around the corner that she'll be at too, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. Ringiora coming up in a week or two, next weekend, is it?
I think it is. I know that Uncle Ivan, there's talk about him wanting to be having his old workhorse out there.
Yep, the old black and white coffee machine, which is well, it's not a coffee machine, but it's a black and white branded truck. But
it's good as he is, hot rod.
Yeah. Ivan would drive anything, even a coffee machine.
Oh, the beautiful thing is I don't have a headset on, so I have no idea if Ivan's responding in the background. As we go we wait for the green, it is Sidaway leading us away. Beside him it is Connor Phillips, the head down to the first lap. Bishop in the 89 looking to make an inroad, and Berry's trying to get down to that pole line. And as we look through, Ben Hearn, he's seen the gap. They all pushed out wide, and Ben Hearn mid-pack came through into fourth. So they all get all sorted out. The 53 car just dropping to the back of the pack. We might shoot down into Enviro Waste, and we see how greasy it is the first lap around. The 21 car doing McNally to the outside. Tried to do the big line around, but it was greasy up the top. Little Kinner's on his heels. As we go to the front of the Sidaway back to the 5 of Phillips, Hearn's he's making a great work of that turn too. That seems to be the spot where he picks up the pace, and he's got a huge set of legs on the 179 as he catches the 5C down the back straight. Ducks to that inside line as moves through into the second spot. So it is Sidaway back to Hearn, Phillips, Berry, Bishop, all second generation races there, Tony. As we,
the experience shows, doesn't it?
In fact, I was going to say up to the 55 car, but he's getting 97 taking that was 97 taking the 151 and the 55 into the wall.
And not surprisingly, the Reds come on there. Yeah, that was we saw more of that at last meeting, didn't we, at our Superstock title?
I'd say someone's been taking tips from Asher Rees on
yeah.
That wasn't even subtle in the world scheme of things, but we'll see.
Now, speaking of Asheries, we've got a few drivers, not just Asheries, but we've got a few other drivers as well involved in various events around the country tonight, and Ivan's going to do his very best to keep in touch with the reports and help you out with some information. We've got Hayden Mackay at the New Zealand Modified title at Waikaraka Park in Auckland. We've got several drivers at the World 240s in Rotorua, including all of the Suck It Up team.
Yep, and Matt Hand's here there as well.
Matt Hand as well, and we've also got several drivers at the New Zealand Production Saloon title as well.
Yeah, which 3NZ Matt Sherlock and 91 Alan Bailey both qualified, so they're racing tonight. So I've brought the iPad and I'll try and keep everybody informed on those different tracks.
Fantastic, and we've also got Josh Bolton's racing in the Pro Dirt series.
Pro Dirt, the Burger
Napier,
King,
isn't he?
Yep, he's up there.
So we've got drivers all around the country from representing WoodfordGlen tonight, which is great.
Yeah, and it's one of that funny time of the year. We're in the silly season for Speedway, as the 97 car has just been pulled to the infield. Wonder what for, Tony.
Oh, yes, and the 55 car getting pushed to the infield there.
Well, it was a rather large chunk of red metal that seemed to flick down the track after that, so there'll be something missing off the Anderson car. But don't take anything away from Sidaway at the front and Hearn, who's had a blinder coming from mid-pack through to that second place spot. As we go back into the starter's hands, I was about to get to the earliest, but it makes no difference because it's not actually on. So, first 5 heading across the start-finish line, we go back down, we go red, and that'll be for something that our tractor's going to go chase. And we wait. Okay, now we build back up and we go racing once again. Hearn was asleep on that one. Berry wasn't though. He launched and picked up 2 spots out of that one on that restart. As is Sidaway, who's coming up on the back of the 9 and 54 car. 54 just moves up to the wall, squeezes the 9 out. Sidaway's got to make a move here. He's thinking he's going to go behind the 5. As behind the 9. The 9 car moves up with the 18 through, 23 there of Berry going through. So we've got a good race here for that second spot. Hearn's cost himself a few spots on that restart, and Berry got on the brakes real early into the corner but washed himself out. Phillips has come back through as the the Kando car pulling to the infield. Definitely some speed variations as you look around the track. And Hearn up underneath Berry. He's going to make a move here down the back straight. This is where Hearn's good. He comes out of 2 with probably the most amount of momentum of everyone else. But Sidaway is our race leader through Enviro Waste. He'll come onto the front straight with a 3 to 4 car length lead over the 5 of Connor Phillips. Berry and Hearn battling out for third spot at the moment. McNally and Jordan Paratene having a wee bit of battle midway through the pack. And McNally car, big push mid-corner. The 11 car catches him up and then has to back out of him. The white flag's in Brian's hands. He'll give it a wee wave. Yep, so it's Cam Sidaway. Just has to keep it smooth for one more lap. And we look further around. I just heard the clatter, and it was a 21 car slap in turn 4 again. As our race leader passed the Valley Cars Warehouse grandstand into Enviro Waste. But he is not going to win it by much here. Connor Phillips will be right on his heels. The back markers aren't going to play any effect, so it is Cam Sidaway, a car length back to the 5C car, followed then by Berry, Hearn, and the 89 of Meyer Bishop.
And we did get some ELS information coming through after I restarted the program. So Cameron Sidaway takes away the win, had a fastest lap of 24.83, but there were a few that were a little bit quicker than that. Phillips did a 24.59, Hearn did a 24.62, so there were a few drivers getting under that 25-second mark, which is a good speed for youth mini stock. But well done to Cameron Sidaway taking away that win in the 18C. And I want to make a special mention of Jake Berry in the 23 car for having by far the most readable numbers of any race car that I think I've seen at WoodfordGlen this season.
Yeah, it's one of those beautiful rules that somebody allowed colour in, and for some reason colour's a heck of a lot harder to see.
And for us commentators, having the numbers readable, particularly when they're on the far side of the track and coming into turn 3, is a big bonus. So well done, Jake Berry.
It's just something less for them to criticise us about, mate.
Well, that's probably true too. We'll be back in a minute.
Check out the Ampro Tools WoodfordGlen shop for everything tools and more. Conveniently located at the corner of North Avon Road and North Parade Shirley, they have a great range of tools, including hand, air and automotive tools that meet your everyday requirements. Need a new battery or need to change the oil in your car? Then head on down to the WoodfordGlen shop today. Plenty of WoodfordGlen merchandise is also available. T-shirts, caps, hoodies, beanies, drink bottles and much more. You can even buy tickets to the Speedway meetings. Open Tuesday to Saturday for your convenience. Phone them 385 1515.
Ivan, it's the Jaden Ward, despite starting 14th in the repechage, has won it and got through to the main event.
Yeah, Jaden's through in the 971C car, so good on him. She's a hard task up there, but there's normally a big pile up in turn 1 and 2. It's quite tight. Obviously, he may have taken advantage of that, but hey, good on him. He's into the World 240s final now with Asher and Malcolm.
So the Suck It Up team are right there, all three of them.
Yep,
fantastic.
Yep.
Alrighty.
And of course, on top of that, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, there was an announcement for the Glen Eagles this week, which all three of those cars are in.
Yes, that's right, there was, wasn't there? So I'm assuming that this is kind of race event 6 on the program, brought to us by Elite Wheel Company, the first heat for the street stocks. If it's not, forgive me, but anyway, we'll give Elite Wheel Company the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you can see we're well informed and we're really helpful from your point of view, as the 15 car of Ben Turner leads us into turn 1, followed there by Schumacher, Dave McSherry in the 62. A little bit of a... Boy, the 27 car is getting some treatment there by the 11 of Hamish McGregor through 1 and 2. And stirring it up right early in the night as we head round through Enviro Waste. Schumacher goes down low. The turn high. McSherry shoots straight up the middle. And you can hear the Toyota V8. Different note to everything else out there. And Dave McSherry coming to grips with his new toy. As we see the 73 car spun, and he's caught 93 of Ivanhill, and nowhere to go, straight into him. The 12 car's ploughed in as well. Buddy Finch. It is Schumacher running second. It is Dave McSherry across the start-finish line. We're used to that. It's coming through here. It's the twins. It is the 428 and the 433 of Matt Peterson and Brooke Peterson. The 71 there of Adrian Fitzgerald. And Rob McSherry looking to squeeze through on Fitzgerald in the 92 car. Comes up the inside, gets on the brakes. Trying to hold that car down low. Corey Schumacher just seems to be falling back through the pack at the moment. Dave McSherry clocks up another lap. Back to Matt Peterson and Rob McSherry. The 27 car of Leslie is limping around the top wall, so he's out of this race in the sense of points, and he's getting himself to the infield. Safely to the infield for the 27 car. So he's the first retiree, which is not good for him in the context of Remembrance champs. The 15 car of Turner's now, oh no, he's back going again. It's like he's was waiting for someone. And Lyshout went around the outside of him. Ivanhill playing with the infield and back out onto the back straight. Our race leader though, past the Valley Cars Warehouse grandstand. Dave McSherry in 62, back to Matt Peterson, Rob McSherry, Sean Andrew. As they head through Enviro Waste. Levi Van Lyshout up the inside of Brooke Peterson into Enviro Waste in the ex-Rob McSherry car. Everybody's keeping it pretty tame at the moment. As the 153 of and Wilson up the inside of the 72 into the big dive through Enviro Waste. Challenge here for second spot between Rob McSherry and Matt Peterson. Dave McSherry is getting caught with these back markers. Rob McSherry's got through into second. So father-son first and second. Matt Peterson on the tail. Just hooking behind the 92 car. Dave will not be happy at this. As his son and Dave's old car's looking up the inside of him. And Rob McSherry up the inside. Dave's trying to hold him low, but to no avail. Matt Peterson's in there. He could just give them both a little bit of a bump. And Rob McSherry takes over the race lead in the 92. As Matt Peterson goes inside, looks like something's gone off in the 62 car. I wonder if he's got a flat tyre or something, just the way the car approached turn one. And cutting through the back markers, Rob McSherry, the 92's on a bit of a flyer. Campbell from Dunedin in the 12 car, racing mid-pack there. Matt Peterson looking for a line, ways to go through. He's up on the back of Ivanhill, gives him a little bit of a hurry up. The 11 car's parked over in the wall over at turn 1 and 2. Ivanhill gets out of the way for the 433, but just clips him on the way past. Race leader, it is Rob McSherry through Enviro Waste. Back to Matt Peterson. Dave McSherry running third on the track, but he is struggling with the 62 car. White flags out. So it is a pure race in the context of street stocks. Last lap as the 92 car past the Value Cars Warehouse grandstand, goes through on the 11 car. It is Rob McSherry heading around. 12 car there, trying to have a crack through there, through Enviro Waste, but it will be a checkered for the 92. Second is going to be the 433 of Matt Peterson, and third, albeit he's something's up with it, the 62 car coming home.
So, yeah. Well, there was a sort of cagey first up race in a 3-heat format, isn't it? When your cars, the contact grades, race that Speedway New Zealand 3-heat format, they generally don't do too much hitting in the first race, and sometimes not in the second one either. But
what is dangerous though is there's only two cars that really pulled out of that race. One of them is Sean Andrews, and the other one is Paul Leslie. So Sean Andrews will hit just about anything, and Paul Leslie can catch just about anything.
That's right. So those two are not going to win a Remembrance Championship by doing well in the last two heats. They would have to have finished this first heat as well. So they can go out now and help their friends, teammates, neighbours, enemies, whoever they want out there. They can go and do some business. And it's probably a safe bet that both of those cars will be in the Canterbury Cobras for the State of Origin. So they coming up later in February.
They may treat that as a bit of practice. We'll see.
Indeed. So fastest lap was a 23.15. 23.4 by Rob McSherry, and we also had a 23.24 by the 29C car of Jones as well. So next up in the chute are our Saloons, and we'll be back with them very shortly.
Brown and Sign Painting Contractors are perfect for all your painting needs. They cover residential, commercial and public buildings and can sort out any specialist finishes that you may require. Check out their website today, www.brown-sign.co.nz. Suck It Up Limited specialise in hydro excavation digging, professional high pressure water jetting, drain cleaning, video inspection and more. Call Malcolm and his team from Suck It Up Limited today.
Of Steve Peterson. Tucked in behind is the 5 of Danny Knight. On the outside of Peterson, it's the 117 of Billy Lee Woodhouse. The 67 of Brian Maxwell is in the mix there as well. The 11 car of Brett McGlashan is there too. Alongside, oh, we're green and we're about to go, and I'm going to do something a bit different here. I'm going to call this race from the last car rather than the first, because someone complained to me after the last meeting I'm always talking about the first. So at the back of the field at the moment, we've got the 25 car of Ben Lodge, and he says he's a good 6 or 7 car lengths behind the second to last car of 39 Terry Catlow. The whole pack goes through past the start-finish line, but we won't worry about them. We'll just focus on the 25 of Ben Lodge. He's closing up on the back of Catlow, who in turn is closing up on the 7 of Scott Woodhouse. So at the moment, if we look at the back of the field, it's Lodge, Catlow, Woodhouse. In front of Woodhouse, the 433 of Matt Peterson, looking to get alongside the 11 of Brett McGlashan. Out front, 117, Billy Lee Woodhouse. We worry too much about her. We're just concentrating on the back of the field here. Going past the Value Cars Warehouse.
Stay off social media, Tony.
25, Ben Lodge. Looking pretty good. Keeps it tight. Through Enviroways. Turn, drifts out a bit towards the wall down the front straight. But he's still holding on to that last place. 39, Terry Catlow. He's second to last. And dropping back into the third to last position is the 67 of Brian Maxwell. Up front there's a bit of action as Dutchie goes toe-to-toe with Billy Lee Woodhouse, but it's too complicated up the front there, too many cars side by side. The 39 of Catlow has pulled out from the second to last position to the infield, and that leaves Ben Lodge now a good 10 car lengths back from the 67 of Brian Maxwell. We've still got the 7 of Scott Woodhouse there in the third to last position, and a good battle in front of him between the 433 of Matt Peterson and the 11 of Brett McGlashan. In front of them, the 68 car Paul Naven, one of the old school racing cars, and he's just about to tag the back of the 28 of Steve Peterson. In front of Peterson, we go back to the 5 of Danny Knight, go forward to the 5 of Danny Knight, and in front of him, the 117 of Billy Lee Woodhouse. The 17 of Blair Lee happens to be in second place at the moment, and streaking away at the front of the field, it's the 72 car of Dutchie, Peter Scouten. But we'll go back to the back and have a look. 25, Ben Lodge. It's closing up a little bit on the 67 car there of Maxwell. But he's still got a few car lengths, probably 5 or 6 car lengths to make up before he can get away from the back of the field. It looks as though the white flag will be coming out shortly. At the front of the field, Dutchie's making no contest of it. But further back, they're well spread out. Ben Lodge in the 25. 6 or 7 car lengths back from Brian Maxwell. Maxwell with a bit of push there, and that's given Lodge the opportunity to get closer. White flag this time for the lead car. But at the back of the field, Ben Lodge is just now 3 or 4 car lengths from the 67 of Maxwell. Maxwell's got a lot to make up from the 7 of Scott Woodhouse, though, and it's a tight race in front of him. Checkered's being waved there for 72 of Peter Scouten, but we'll keep an eye on Ben Lodge at the back of the field as he goes past the Value Cars Warehouse grandstand. For the last time, he's tight on the back of Maxwell. Maxwell drifts wide. Ben Lodge keeps it tight. He's the closest he's been all race, but he can't quite get past Maxwell. So there you are. There's a race called from the back, not the front, and whoever criticised me for constantly calling the front of the field, there's your response.
Oh, I would love you to do that when we're streaming next. That was going to be the funniest commentating I've heard in a long time. Okay, Willie Wood. No, I've got Willie Woodhouse. It's got unless it is Willie driving the 72 car, but it's... in fact, actually, we need to check on that because it says Willie Woodhouse is driving the 72 car, but it's normally in the hands of Dutchie. But the fastest car on the track by far and away, pulling a 17.3 in the middle of that race. Blair Lee having a good run through there, and all getting, well, you saw how it unfolded. Interesting to note the 117 car there of Billy Lee Woodhouse having a great run. Car's for sale.
That's a good car.
It's a very good car. Which also leads me to...
What's she moving into, do you know?
Well, I don't know. I'm just wondering if that is Willie driving the 72 car with the...
Well, actually, I've just checked on our piece of paper here, and it does say that, 72 Willie Woodhouse. So, yeah, I think maybe Willie Woodhouse trying out the 72 car. Maybe Peter Scouten's the one that's looking to sell.
It's a... well, he was certainly selling his motor at the start of the season, but, of course, that's a Mike Verdona built car, and Mike's got some new generation chassis that he's been building with no bar work in the back end, and if you have a look at them there, we tried it in Supers a few years ago, and well, I wouldn't say that it didn't work, it just never took off, but Mike Verdona's latest cars are very, very quick.
Yeah. Is there one of those down south already running that we can
there's
think
two
of?
of them. Terry Soper's got one,
right,
and as Mike's running himself as well, which was up here a few meetings ago,
yes,
but at the title, but yeah, he didn't have a great run mechanically in it.
Yeah.
So,
all right, so that's something to keep an eye on, Mike Verdona's new cars. So big thank you to Really Swift Parts for that. Now first up is next up is the first heat of the stock cars. I'll assume that that's the one sponsored by Christchurch Glass. We'll say thank you to them. So big thank you to Christchurch Glass, and we'll be back to talk about them very soon.
Blakely Construction, from demolition to earth moving and roading, they cover it all. They're always looking for staff to help rebuild Canterbury. Check them out at www.blakely.co.nz.
991 of Harley Rob with the 68 of John Everett on the front, and a good mix and match of different clubs here, Ivan.
Yeah, it's good to see a good representation. We've got Dunedin's represented, Blenheim, the E's from Eastern States, GM, Greymouth, Tony Oliver. Seasoned campaigner is Tony. Been around a wee while. He's not that old, but he's been around a long time.
Well, he had a super stock with a Morris body in it, and the New Zealand title that Craig Boot won here, so that goes back more than a day or two.
Yep, and it's good to see that we've changed the format slightly. We had a few drop-offs, so there's no need for qualifying.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's just that funny time of year, though. We have the we'll wait for the start. We've had the Can-Am, the X Factor cars Can-Am moved to the infield. We're in the starter's hands. We've left a dump of oil on the track from the push car. That's great stuff. And we're away and racing, and it is Rob and Everett. Everett tips top gear. He's going to go for that outside run on Rob. Rob stays in low back to Troy Curry. Big bunching up mid-pack squeeze as they come off too. They go 5 wide down the back straight. You can see this is going to end in tears when we get to Enviro Waste. Is anybody going off the end? Oh, Rosewarne just barging his way in as the 57 car spat to the infield. Oh, Colin Cameron's gone around. He's T-boned by the 26. There's a disastrous start by him. The 73 of Norton Downs is on the infield with a flat right rear tyre. Out of all of this, Harley Rob's in the lead. We've got Cheryl and Everett's got himself very sideways. Harley's just trying to get himself down there. Aris, he's come through. And we've still got our two parked in the wall down at front straight here. The battle's on Aris and Everett. Harley Rob's in the lead. Aris comes in, gives Harley a wee tap. Everett tries to run out high and wide, but he'll run out of track. The visor's fallen off the front of the 26 car. The 107 car is trying to get I'm not sure he's trying to get it started. Definitely in a precarious spot, and we're going to go red. Yeah, too many cars trying to avoid him there.
Yeah, we've also got the 7C car spun up there in the middle of turn 2.
Harley Rob pulling to the infield out of all of this.
Wow, that was our race leader.
To be fair, I believe, I'll just check the car's not actually out there. He's got the engine out of the 74 car in his one to get racing. Colin Cameron just was got the squeeze, and then Cheryl Walker, nowhere to go, T-boned him.
Yep. Brad Rosewarne's made his intentions clear. When you're starting off the back, you're going to have to use the bumper to get up through the field.
Yeah, well, there was no use of the brakes going down into Envirowaste. Dave Parrott in the 28 car was the brakes for Rosewarne. Yep. And that's the thing, you've got to remember, when you're in a pack that's bunched up like this, you are going to punt your way through.
So we'll just look to see where Rosewarne is sitting.
He's actually at the other end of the tracks. He's a long way. So
he's a long way, but
something's
happened to him. He got tangled up in something.
But of course, it's a long night. Unfortunately, all the cars on the infield are Christchurch cars currently. We'll have a Greymouth one in there in a minute.
A good car to watch out of Nelson, the 217, young Tees. Very good peddler.
Yeah, he's a great little peddler. Fair bit of talent, and a few club mates here to help him. So we'll see how that unfolds.
Yep.
But when you see Harley, Rob and Norton Gowns on the infield, and you know that they like hitting stuff, and the night's finished early for them.
Yep. So we'll see what happens. It's probably a good thing we didn't have qualifying, because there's our cars out already.
Yeah. Not renowned for the most reliable grade of stock cars. What happened to the 7 car? I guess we'll hear about it later, or read about it. As we have, it looks like the race lead is in the hands of Michael Harris. And we're away on the racing back to Everett, Troy Curry, Nathan Taylor. Coming through Daniel Lamb and Alex Rondell. Look further back through the pack, see he's making moves. Lamb washes out wide. Craig Robb gives him a whack on the way past. Rondell's moved forward, as is the 318 of Grunt. And Rosewarne, he's got a lot of work to do. He would have been the top pick at the start, and he's way at the other end of the track. There's blue smoke coming off the 59E car. 15C sec. No, he's prone to the infield. Julian Lynch looks like he's lost the tyre on the back of it. So we're racing this one out pretty hard at the moment. The 79 of Tyler Forbes on the pole line as he heads around. Smoke is coming off that 59 car of John McClellan. Is that a wheel rubbing? It looks like it is. It looks like it's the wheel gate rubbing on the tyre. We'll get this test the sidewall. Real bunching up here. The 317 of Holcomb trying to push his way through. He's got the momentum into turn 1 and 2. He's pushing Daniel Lamb out wide. Race leaders into the back markers. He goes through on Owen Jackson. John Everett there going through on the 59 car, and they're just touching. Troy Curry's just going to bounce his way into the side of Everett. Rondell's following through. Nathan Taylor not too far behind. The race leader is still Aris. Heads down into Envirowaste. Looking at a way through on the 57. The 79 car from Glen has parked himself in the wall. As Aris looking up the inside of Leighton Stanton. He goes through. Jamie Bolton was there as well. Troy Curry's here. Troy Curry racing for position. Real bunch there around Tony Oliver going into turn 1. The 86 car of Shane Brooks just limping around. He just almost wished the check had been waved in. Otherwise, it's going to be a long lap for him. And definitely some bunching up there as we head out of Envirowaste. Everett giving the big hurry out from Troy Curry. Rondell's coming through on the back of Curry, so we lost that left rear tyre, haven't we, on 59.
Tony Oliver just got spun up too.
As the Stanton there giving Everett a bit of treatment. Rondell's gone through on Curry. They're just muscling their way past the 57 car, and he's going to try and straighten on the 919, but he doesn't have the momentum. So out in front, Michael Harris heads into Envirowaste. Back to Everett, who is very, very loose mid-corner, and Rondell's been put round by Stanton. Well, he's been trying to put someone around all race on that one, and he's going to lose a few places. Here's Keatley Teese goes through on Rondell. They're all trying to avoid Shane Brooks on the front straight here, and the 59 car's lost his right rear tyre as well, so he's going to go and dig some. He's going to do some ploughing for us. Plant some seeds later. Wide is out. Chequered is being waved for Harris. He'll go through. Back to Everett and the 919 of Curry, Taylor, and I am picking Teese. And a big pile up as we come out of 4 as Daniel Lamb's into the side of the 911 car who's locked the right front up.
Wow. These boys are starting to get into it nice and early. Looking at some of the lap times and the earlier pace there, we're 20.73 for our winner, 20.65 for Everett. If we go down a wee bit, 20.57 for Brad Rosewarne, who came home 11th. So that's not bad going, considering he was quite a wee way down. He managed to muscle his way back through. He will be one to watch. These guys are racing for their South Island champs. Michael Harris out of Kai Dunedin, or
Aaron Eden.
Aaron Eden. 521D, Michael Harris with the checkered flag, taking out the first heat of the South Island champs for these guys.
Yeah, it was getting a bit niggly just at the end there, and I think a lot of these drivers were struggling with when they're bunching up how to get through traffic. It's going to be interesting next couple of races. I wouldn't read a lot into this one other than the cars that finished.
No, exactly. And like, if any of these guys are going to the New Zealand title, anywhere around the country that they race with big numbers, and they race like Brad Rosewarne does. They just punch you out of the way. There's no, oh, here's my club mate, I'll wait for another little gap. You've got to force a gap when you're at these big meetings.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, there's a few broken cars here, and I'd say, judging by the speed of some of them, there was, oh, we're going to be very close with a water truck.
We just put a chicane in for them.
Yeah, 5,000 litres of water doesn't move too nicely, does it? And so a lot of tyres blown in that one, surprising enough to me. And they were, you know, not from hits or anything, or maybe the 59 car was from that wheelgate. But outside of that, maybe guys just misreading the...
misreading the track surface,
yeah.
And there's a lot more grip and bite in there tonight than what there has been the last couple of meetings with the weather. Even though it has been hot, the track crew have done a good job. We don't have a lot of big tired cars here tonight, so the track should hold up real good for these guys all night.
Yeah, I guess this is one of the things that a lot of them would have predicted. Stock cars traditionally race on a slicker or a harder surface. There's a lot more drive in that, and I'd say there's definitely some tyres that have been cost because they've just gone too low on the tyre pressures.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And of course, you've got to qualify to get into it, and then and then the rest, the North Island cars are all done on invite.
And then we've got the big modified invasion at the end of the year as well.
But we wrap around that one too, that we have the Gold Rush.
Yeah, which is another super stock event.
Another super stock event, and we know that the Joblins are intending to be here for that, and we know that the Reesers are intending to be here for that, along with the Christchurch super stocks, which haven't failed to keep us on our edge of our seats this year.
Indeed.
I can't imagine we're going to get out of that meeting without bending some steel.
Alrighty.
As we're in the starter's hands, flag is waved, we're away on racing. As the 62 of Ben Porter jumps into the lead, but he's pushed heavily by the 88 car of McMillan. We head round turn one for the first time. Do we get through there cleanly? It looks like West has got through into the third spot. He's battling, but it looks like Bright's going to do the big modified dive into third spot round Envirowaste. So McMillan's in the lead, back to the 17 of Bright. Porter on the outside. Bellis is there with West. West looking up the inside of Bright, but the door got closed. Archibald in the 23 is looking up the inside of Bellis. And then we go back to the 181 of Rob. Out in front though, McMillan leads us into Envirowaste. A fair bit of pressure going on. You just sense that it's going to break shortly. Someone's going to hit someone. We're going to go 3, maybe 4 wide, definitely 4 wide. Bellis has got the momentum, but she just can't get through on the 17 car. She's gone to the outside line, carries it around the outside. Watch the 18 car down the back straight. Unless they squeeze her out to the wall, she's got the run. But West has gone defensive. He's managed to hold the 23 car back. Bellis backed out of it. McMillan's in the lead, back to West. Bellis all over the back of the Onyx Homes 34 of Zach. Caleb. Zach's the older brother in the super stock. Marginal difference. And Bellis is going to go up the inside here unless West can come across and close the door. He's managed to close it. He's going to get very sideways. Nowhere to go for Bellis. She ends up walloping into the back end. Actually straightened him up, to be fair. Paul Archibald goes up the inside of the 34 car, and it's opened the door here for the 17 of Bright as well. Meanwhile, it's given McMillan out the front a little bit of a breather. Bellis running second. McMillan out in front. And then we go back to Archibald, who's got a whole lot of pressure on him. So the battle is on for third, and that seems to be a trend this season, Tony, with all grades, that they seem to be battling for third spot.
There is, isn't there? I think there's a general competitiveness in the mid-pack now. We used to have perhaps one or two fast cars and the rest were tailing off. Now in most grades we've got real competitiveness in the mid-pack, haven't we?
We certainly do. As we all coming through here, it is Ballas up the inside of McMillan. That end car's definitely got a good turn of speed. Goes up the inside. A little bit of... she did the slide job, but McMillan tried to close the door at the same time and they both came together. But out of all of this, Paul Archibald, he is going to come in here, and don't underestimate the 23 car on the closing laps of this race. He's carrying that momentum. He's got the momentum on the 88 car. McMillan's had to move up high on the track to hold Archibald out, but what that means is he'll drive around 1 and 2 and carry that momentum back onto the backstraight. McMillan's gone high, thinking it's going to hold Archibald out, but he will duck to the inside, or will he? No, he's going to stay to the outside. Watch West. West's going to do the big dive. He gets on the brakes early. Ballas out in front. She has seen it, and Archibald has moved into the second spot. Back to McMillan, who gives a little bit of Morse code on the back of the 23 round turn 2. West is going to make a crack here at the 88 car as we head down into Enviro Waste. White flag is out for Ballas. She's got one more lap to do as she comes across the start-finish line. We're watching the second place battle at the moment. Archibald, he's got less than a car length over the 88. West's going to go up the inside of the 88, who closes the door. If you want me, no, he's going to give him the wheel. That's giving it to Paul Archibald. The battle's going to be on through here. And here comes Bright and Rob. So these other two cars are going quite a bit slower because of the little moment. It'll be Ballas back to Archibald. And we'll call it from what we see on the track West, but we'll leave that one in the officials.
Yeah, referees might have to get a few drivers up the stairs there. That was good racing though, wasn't it? Sarah Ballas, Paul Archibald, Caleb West, McMillan, Rob, Bright, all involved in some really good racing at the front of that mini stock field. Sometimes, you know, sometimes the lead car just takes off and goes and that's it. But that was a race where it wasn't really till the last lap or second to last lap that we knew who was going to win it. So well done to our mini stocks.
And if you haven't had enough of your mini stock fix, in the chute is the youth mini stocks.
Oh boy. It just keeps coming here at Ampro Tools, Woodford Glen. We should have a mini stock invasion. No, we won't actually, no. Sorry, no, that idea's been cancelled.
You and me, we can see the world is such a pretty.
Battle of survival.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see Steve Thompson come away with this, because at the moment, Brad Lane, who's probably the most spectacular modified driver in New Zealand, bar none, he's rolled it. And Jacko's crashed out, as has, and Foxy's got problems. Ray Chatfield pulls out, so it is carnage.
And
I believe we've got Ivan out there.
I'll just have a quick word before we go racing. Keatley, current South Island champion, mate, in the stock cars. You're trying to go for the three-peat. You're leading on points. What's your plans for this last one?
Oh, I'll just go out there and hopefully get a good start and see how the race pans out for us. It's sort of hard to say off the track, so wait until the lights go green and we'll see what happens.
Had a couple of conversations with some of your club mates to see if they'll help you out?
Yeah, we've only about 4 of us down here and a couple of us up on points, so I think we're going to run and just see what happens.
No worries, mate. All the best for the final race.
Thanks, Ivan. Leaders on points for the street stocks. Rob McSherry on 44, Matt Peterson on 40, Dave McSherry on 37. Those are the ones to keep an eye on.
And we're away on racing. Of course, the 29 got disqualified from the last race. This is the Remembrance champs for the street stocks. They didn't get to run it on Boxing Day. The 93 car's climbing into Peterson. Oh, we're going 4 wide. We've got, is it Wilson's up on his side? We're going to go red. And his roof's been driven into, so that's looking pretty manky from this angle.
That was would have been pretty spectacular for those people sitting on turn 3 there.
Well, Ivan Hill climbed into the 433 car, just kept pushing him across. It's picked up the Greymath car of Brad Kahui and the 153 of Robbie Wilson on the outside. Nowhere to go but up.
That's right. Out front there, we seem to have the which car is that? 34, Levi Van Leishout.
It is.
Yeah.
And Rob McSherry's old car. So, of course, a few of these drivers have done a bit of a shuffle mid-season, buying and selling cars. And that 34 car's no slug on any given night. As everybody's going over to see what the underbelly of a Holden looks like.
And actually, Levi Van Leishout was well up on points. He was in 4th place there on 35 points. albeit that's 9 behind Rob McSherry, but nonetheless in 4th place after the first two heats. So,
well, looking where Rob McSherry is, he's 3rd on the track.
yeah.
One would suggest that unless someone wants to play games with him, he's got a clear road home.
Yeah, you'd think so. Mind you, 27 there, Paul Leslie, right behind him. He's got the pace to stay with him. Could make something happen if he chose to. Remember, he dipped out in the first heat, so he's well down on points tonight. Not much to play for.
And wait to see the Robbie Wilson's car pulled off the wall. It's got a bit of back-end damage. That being the wagon, of course, when it went up there, the roof became the impact zone. And Brad Kahui parked into the side of it, pretty much holding him up there at the moment. They're going to try and move the 44 car. Half expecting the 153 to roll onto its roof when they do this.
Yeah, could well do. There he goes.
Oh no, there it does. Oh, we're spinning it around. We've got the bumpers hooked. Yeah, right about now we want some chains. Wow. I'll push the 153 car back over. Got to see the underneath of a Holden, and as expected, coated in oil. And at the front end of it, not looking so pretty either, just to be fair.
No, it's not, is it?
And out of all of this, it looks like we have lost the 93 car as well. But he was heavily involved. He's pretty much, Ivan Hill was the one that caused this, just for getting into the side of the 433 and just pushing him wide. And obviously we've lost the Kahui car as well from Greymouth, who has been probably one of our more spectacular visitors over the season.
Yeah, he has. He's had a few race meetings here, hasn't he? Look good.
To be fair, the street stocks on the coast are fun to watch, but they don't quite race at the level that WoodfordGlen does.
So we'll just tow that car off, and then I think everyone else is pretty much pointing the right way.
Bearing in mind we're still on lap 1.
Yeah, that's right. We haven't, well, lap 0 strictly, in the sense that no one's gone across the start-finish line yet.
It's going to be, Matt Peterson's going to be rejoining where he was. He looks like he's got a front flat on the right front. Yeah, 153 Wilson's car. That's not going to buff out on Sunday morning. Big chunk of mud in the tyre. Looked pretty at the start of the, well, looked tidy at the start of the night.
Certainly doesn't now. Alrighty, I think the Reds will be coming in. We'll be ready to go racing.
And we're in the start, back in the starter's hands. We're away and racing. Van Lysha will clock our first lap, a 4.5 minute lap, 4:29 apparently, as the 29 car Jones got into the side of him through the Enviroways. Dave McSherry spun at 2. He's parked in a horrible spot. Jones is coming through. He'll be looking to get going. Sean Andrew goes through, just seeing if the 62 car's in a position to move. Out in front though, it is Jones back to Van Lysha. Red lights on, that's going to be for McSherry.
He was very slow off that restart. I wonder if he got some damage from that previous incident as well.
Yeah, just he was in the back part of it, but for some reason the car, it was almost like the car locked up when he went to move it. And they're putting the 34 car to the infield. So that's interesting. We'll find out why in due course. He was on for a blinder too, looking at the points.
Yeah, he was. He was well up there. At the moment, 2 laps completed, and the 92 of Rob McSherry has got a big lead over the second place car on points, which was Van Lysha. He's now come off, so it'll go down to Brooke Peterson on the 428, I think. Matt Peterson currently just ahead, but he's only completed 1 lap, whereas Brooks completed 2.
interesting evening.
I suspect those points are going to change a bit. The order's going to change a bit before this race is complete.
Well, we've got cars out there with flat tyres. We've got cars that are struggling to get home. I think the one safe thing is, unless someone wants to have a crack at Rob McSherry, he's pretty safe with the Remembrance champs at the moment. And then Saloons and stock cars with the mini stocks rounding us out. Saloons are in the chute at the moment. That stock car race will be interesting. Keatley Teese, just looking at where he's going to start in that race, he is the 4th row of the grid on the inside, so he's got a great starting position. In front of him will be the 218 car, to the outside of him the 44 car, but certainly we've had some reliability issues throughout the grade tonight. Front row of the grid will have Ebb Young and the 93 is Smith on the front row, so that'll be interesting.
And where's Brad Rosewarne starting? Because whoever's in front of him is going to be just a tad nervous.
Rosewarne.
Oh, he's about mid-pack there.
He is behind Kurt Browning. He's on row 6. One car, so Kurt Browning is between him and Teese. Nathan Taylor on the outside, Grunt is in that second row, and that row as well. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting race. It'll also be more interesting to see what cars actually come out. A few of them just not quite putting it together tonight, and I guess that's one of the features why we're actually doing it on as a one-night gig for the stock cars. I mean, if you look at the numbers and stock cars around the South Island, there's a lot of cars that entered that haven't fronted, and there's probably the best part of 200 stock cars in the South Island.
Yeah. And to have only 34 turn up on the day for their South Island title. A little bit sad. Never mind. The ones we've had have put on some good racing. And these guys are racing a championship too. Our Remembrance Championship for street stocks. The whole meeting tonight brought to us by Ampro Tools. If you're looking for tools, pop down to the WoodfordGlen shop, have a chat with Steve. He's got the full range of Ampro professional tools down there.
Back in the starters' hands we go, and we go racing. And we won't be setting any records for this lap either. 2 laps completed. Well, not third lap is about to get knocked down as Rob McSherry comes through, but our race leader, is Jones in the 29 car, and he is past the Value Cars warehouse grandstand as we head down. 29 car absolutely flying. 11 car a bit out of shape down at EnviroWaste. Matt Peterson circulating low on the track. 29 car not quite sure which way to go on him, and Peterson just goes out wide. Jones ducks to the inside. McSherry's here. McSherry, well, I reckon he's going to go for 3 from 3. And right about now, I'd say Dave McSherry is wishing he hadn't sold the car to his son. As Rob does, he ducks down low, goes through on Jones. So the 92C car absolutely flying tonight. 11 car circulating. Whoa, the 428 car spun around there by Sean Andrew. And the 11 car has a crack and has a second wallop at him. So no fear shown by the 11 car. Jones has slowed down as well. And Paul Leslie comes in for the big hit on the 11 car. Perhaps a little bit of payback for taking out the 92. So that looked pretty comfortable. And Rob McSherry will not be happy about that. He was looking for a blinder. Paul Leslie gave the big hit onto the 11 car. As the 12 car launches into the 73. You definitely see where the allegiances lie. And the 11 car back out on the track. Whoa! Turner and the 12D car. And here we go, Leslie on the back of the 11 car gives him another wallop. Puts a divot into the track. And he will get, the 12 car will get a good wallop from the 73. So brothers and fathers and sons getting into this. As Leslie spins himself around. Oh, they're getting ugly and they're only doing it to themselves. The 11 car back out onto the track. He's had a beating so far and he'll be up for a bit more. Ben Turner is... No, he's beat the back end of it somehow. The 73 of Jamie McGregor parked on the wall over at 3. And the 11 car looks like he's been sent to the infield, or he's going to the infield.
We've gone red so that everyone can take a deep breath. We're 8 laps down. If we have a look at the points, Rob McSherry in the 92 had such a cushion that despite that being taken out, he's still in the lead by some margin. He's still on 62 points, and the next best car is 51, I think, which is Matt Peterson and the leader of the race, Corey Schumacher.
Yeah, well, Paul Leslie doing a bit of the hitman duties down the front straight. He drilled the 11 car, and the 73 car got in a bit of action as well.
So it's all come alive for our street stocks in their last heat for their Remembrance Championship. But it's still the 92 of Rob McSherry, who's looking to be the winner at the moment. How many laps? 8 laps down. It's a 12-lap race, I guess.
I think it is.
Probably, so 4 to go.
What is interesting is you have to go down the pit chute and wake up most of the saloon drivers that are parked in the chute.
So, yeah, it's been a little nap time for them.
There's been plenty of drivers over the years that have had little naps in the pit chute, have woken up when they've had other cars around them starting. And the McGregors making their presence known, the 11 and the 73. To be fair, both of them pretty untidy now, but I'm sure they're smiling in the cars. Corey Schumacher looking like he's second on points. Rob McSherry's got this one in the bag. He's just got to bring it home. Van Leishout, even though he's been DNF'd, he's actually got 43 points as it sits. Yeah. So he's still up there, but of course he's not allowed to race. Race leader Schumacher over at turn 1. Then Paul Leslie's actually second on the track according to the LS, but I'll be Tom McSherry's in that 48 car, and I think we'll be a 46 car. I'd be surprised if he doesn't have a crack at white flag. So it's a 10-lap race they're doing. And Tom McSherry just pulling out to the wall. Rob McSherry, a little look at the back of Brooke Peterson, gave her a wee tap. But it is Corey Schumacher back to Paul Leslie. Leslie very sideways through the corner. Schumacher sees the checker, takes the checker. Leslie's there. It will be Peterson with Rob McSherry, Adrian Fitzgerald. Looking at the ELS, Tony, it tells us what?
Well, it tells us that assuming there's no changes or relegations or disqualifications by the referees, and you can never count on that because it does happen, Rob McSherry will take it away with 63 points. The second place will be a tie, I think, between Matt Peterson in the 433 and Corey Schumacher, both on 51 points. So that's well back. And the next best car would be 50 points, which was Brooke Peterson, who finished third in that race. So congratulations to Rob McSherry, that 92 car, seeing him home, and with a fastest lap of 21.53, he was the quickest out there as well in that race.
And that would be Brooke's probably best finish in a championship this year.
Yeah, well, probably in her career, probably.
In stock cars, certain
street stocks, yeah.
And but right about now, I'd say that Dave McSherry's thinking he wish he kept his Falcon.
I think he probably would be.
You there, chaps?
All right. Yeah, we're still here. What you got for us, Simon?
I've got aircon. I'm just sitting in this mighty Great Wall Steed. We're just about to come out on the track, and hey, just an update from the New Zealand production champs up north. Matt Sherlock had another DNF. The gear stick kept jamming and causing him issues, and Alan Bailey, he didn't go too well either. So not a good night in Gisborne for the production saloon guys, but mate, just sitting in here in this nice aircon in this ute that we're about to come out in, thanks to the guys at GMC. Go and CMG,
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, see, the aircon's just calling me down. It's freezing the brain. But yeah, hey, we haven't heard anything more from up north at the 240. As soon as I hear something, I'll come back to you on that. Interesting conversations walking around the pits with the stock car guys. You know, like some of them don't want Keatley Tees to win it 3 years in a row. Some of them do. Yeah, there's some very interesting chats going on between Eden guys, Christchurch guys, and etc.
So it could be a good battle for that last heat. It's great, isn't it? Unlike Donald Trump, we've got a great wall.
And it's paid for kindly by everybody that wants to go and purchase one.
Brilliant. All right,
Not just Mexicans.
We'll be back for the big race shortly. So here's our Saloons getting ready for their last race of the night, brought to us by Blank Space in the program. I got that, it gives me every meeting, that blank space in the program. Never mind. Brian's ready with the green flag, and we're going to go racing. Off the front there, Brett McGlashan in the 11 car and the 17 of Blair Lee, neck and neck, but it's Blair Lee on the inside who just gets the jump into turn 1. McGlashan very racy right on the back of the 17 car there, but he's getting swallowed up by Matt Peterson in the 433. Very tight, bunching up as they go into turn 3 and 4 there, through Enviro Waste turn. Blair Lee comes out ahead. He's looking pretty good there with the 433 of Matt Peterson in second place. McGlashan settling into third place. Danny Knight's there in fourth in the number 5 car. We've got, is that the 67 of Maxwell's in the mix there too, with the inside running of 72. Willie Woodhouse driving that Peter Scouten car, taking on Maxwell there as well. Takes the place off him. Further back, the 7 of Scott Woodhouse is leading Navan in the 68 car. In the back of the field at the moment, the 117 of Billy Lee Woodhouse and the 28 of Steve Peterson. So back front side we go now, ticking off another lap. That's 3 completed for Blair Lee. He's built himself a good lead. About 8 or 10 car lengths over the 433 of Matt Peterson, who's fighting off the 11 car of McGlashan. McGlashan holding back the 5 of Danny Knight and the 72 of Willie Woodhouse joining this battle as well. Can Woodhouse work his way through past the 11 car, who's holding on to a solid third place at the moment. Danny Knight a bit frustrated there, almost taps the back of the 11 car. Get the feeling that Brett McGlashan could be the meat in a sandwich soon as these cars try and get round him, but he's running the middle of the track line, and it's hard for Danny Knight to find the space to get past, and it's hard for the 72 of Woodhouse to catch on the back of the 11. Clever driving by the 11 of Brett McGlashan. Out front, Blair Lee's making no contest of it. Matt Peterson trying to close the gap on him, but he's a long way ahead, and it's a long way back to the third place. We've got one round there. He's managed to get it back again. Was that Navan in the 67 Maxwell. He's stopped in the track, the middle of the track though, so we go yellow. But frustrating for Blair Lee. That's going to close up all the cars behind him and all that work he did in building that lead. Even more so for Woodhouse, because he got through on Knight and was up underneath the 11 car. Right, and he's going to have to drop back, because we'll go back to the positions on the previous lap. Yeah, Danny Knight's going to contest it. Yeah, they're still battling it out. They both believe they should be there. I think Woodhouse might have just conceded. So we're green. No, we're not. We're about to go green. There we are. Now we're green, and we're racing again. The 17 of Blair Lee. Again, going to try and build that lead. Brett McGlashan's got to try and preserve that third place. He knows what Willie Woodhouse is going to try and do, come up the inside. He knows Danny Knight's going to run the outside. There goes Knight, deep into turn 3, looking for that outside line, looking to try and run around the 11 car. But 11 chops him off nicely, coming out of turn 4. He's allowed to do that. Keeping the 5 car at bay. 72 Woodhouse right up the inside there, but runs out of grip on the front end of that 72 car. Has to pull out of it. Blair Lee backs that 17 in very early, as you can see. He gets lots of drive mid-turn, and he's holding off the 433 of Peterson. Brett McGlashan having the drive of his life there in third place, doing a great job holding off Danny Knight. Knight's got to commit to a line, I think, and really try and work it for a couple of laps. Willie Woodhouse trying to get involved as well. He runs up the inside. Knight guns very high there, just touching the wall, I think. Willie Woodhouse on the inside, Brett McGlashan on the outside. I think Woodhouse will have the horsepower in a straight line. He does. He gets the nose in front. McGlashan comes back at him. If it was super stocks, Woodhouse would have been toast there, but it's not. Out front, Blair Lee in the 17 car. He's looking pretty solid. 433 Matt Peterson. He's looking solid in second place as well. Goodness me, it must be nearly the end of the race, because the white flag's being flown there by Brian. Let's come around quickly. I could have done with a few more laps. I've been enjoying this. Blair Lee in the 17 car, down past the Value Cars Warehouse grandstand for the last time. Willie Woodhouse closing in on the second place car of Peterson. I don't think he's got enough racetrack left to do anything though. Peterson takes second place, Willie Woodhouse third, And Brett McGlashan holds off Danny Knight for 4th.
Not setting any lap records out of that one. Most of those cars in the 19s, a few of them dropping back into the 20s, but they survived.
They did. It was good racing. I was enjoying that. It was good racing from our Saloons there. And next up is, it's the big race. It's the stock car final.
And do we have some points there, Tony?
We do. Shall I read them?
Why not?
It might be a good idea. Okay, so this is the official points after 2 heats of the South Island stock cars brought to us by Ampro Tools. At the moment, the leading car is the 217 of Kylie Teese. He's on 66 points. 3 back, we have a tie between the 73D of Nathan Taylor and the 521 of Michael Arris. So at the moment, the top 3 cars are not Christchurch cars. So let's hope our Christchurch guys have noticed that and decide to do something about it. The 4th place at the moment is the 919 of Troy Curry. He's on 62 points, so he's just 1 behind Taylor and Arris and 4 behind Kylie Teese. Jay Holtham is on 59. 6th place is Ben Smith on 58. 7th place is the 59 car of Brad Rosewarne. He's also on 58 points, tied with Ben Smith. 77E, Scott Alexander's on 55 points in 8th place. 9th is the 318 of Jaden Giles on 52. He's tied with John Everett in the 68N car, also on 52. And 1 back is Alex Rondell in the 95C car on 51. We then go back to Daniel Lamb in the 52C car. He's on 49 points. 53C is Chris Wildey on 44. Craig Robb, the 1-1 car on 43. Eben Young in the 51C car in 42. Tony Oliver in the 38 GM car, 41. And the rest of them go back down through the 30s and 20s. I won't read them all, but those are your top 16 cars anyway. So just repeating out front there, it's Kylie Teese in the king position at the moment on 66, 3 ahead of Nathan Taylor and Michael Arris, both tied on 63. Troy Curry 1 back on 62, Jay Holtham on 59, Brad Smith and Brad Rosewarne on 58. Those are the
He loves the bash and crash.
Yeah,
and if he knows he's not in with a chance, what will he do? And to be fair, looking at the grids, if it opens up and gets away, Keatley's going to have not a bad run.
Wow.
He's sitting there on the inside row, 4 back.
Depends on whether he's had the cars been built out of magnetic steel or not.
Yeah, there'll be nothing. I'm picking there'll be nothing. The motor in the Teese car is built at CHS.
Oh,
so I'm picking there's not going to be too much interference there. Looking at Brad sitting in there.
So
there's a lot of gaps in there. Some of those back markers, they'll have a head of steam by the time they hit turn 1.
You'd be pretty proud just to actually finish 3 races tonight, because there's a fair chunk of cars that are worth a lot of money that probably haven't finished tonight and probably won't finish much else.
And looking, unfortunately, Jaden Giles parked on the infield. I heard a popping and banging. That car's been on rails and on fire up until now. You come to a meeting like this and his bad luck just runs. The nature of motorsport.
Yeah, Keatley's going to have a good run. It's he'll be in that 3rd spot pretty quick, I'd say, as we are itching to go. Smith's creeping, and we're all creeping on the front. We're going to go now. Keatley ducks it inside. Rosewarne's there. Yogi goes through. The 21 car up into the Nelson. The Keatley up the inside. There we go. Whoa, he takes a swing and pushes the 21 car wide. Huggies is all crossed up. There's the chaos ensuing. Oh, it's getting over.
We've gone red. Keatley's tied up down on the far end as well.
Got one right in front of there. The 317 got put around. Keatley did it beautifully. He picked up the 21 car, fired him across the pack, and then the chaos ensued, and Stanton's gone over. He's taken his wing off, which probably saved him $300 for doing that.
Nathan Taylor, he's the one that's come out of this as our lead car. Coming out of that corner. He's one of the guys that's sitting thereabouts. Smith's just blocking Teese's path there. Teese is just in behind him. There's a bit of a dust up in that corner.
Yeah, they just rolled the 57E car back over.
So she's on for young and old in this. We haven't even completed a lap.
And that was just driver error. He threw the car in to avoid it.
Yep.
The 317 car just became a pinball amongst all of that.
So we've got already on the infield. Oliver's reversing back towards the podium. 77's on the infield. We'll see if he gets going again. I think he got dispatched in that pile-up.
He certainly was.
Cheryl Walker's sitting there out on the infield. and the Giles car.
Yeah, big sort of funnel into Enviro Waste, and Teese went wide, and unfortunately for him, Smith was going backwards in front of him. But they'll get the 57 car back going. Well, that was a short race for him. And his crew preempted the fact that he was going to get rolled.
It's good when you've got crew like that. Preempting stuff like that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have to keep pointing out to our customers that telepathy is not something we sell. And so they'll get the 57 car clear. Not a lot in that roll, but it is a little ugly. Got some
popping and cracking down there, so something's not sounding too good.
Yeah. A few of the cars have been having troubles with, I know a lot of the Falcons have had issues with distributors this year. So the trick to it is you get a Speedway New Zealand computer, then don't earth it properly and have the same problem. We need to realign the headlights on the rescue vehicle. They're stabbing me in the eye from across the infield.
It's like these guys run a high-rise carb. I'm just trying to find what factory car comes out with a high-rise carb. Or is that sarcasm?
Yeah.
I know a certain guy that was looking for one in the North Island. He was Datsun 1200s, Oldsmobiles, all sorts, they reckon. I still haven't found one.
If you actually look carefully enough, you'll find a road car that runs a power glide gearbox legally. Does that mean that it then becomes a race part?
Well, yeah.
Winters make a road going diff and hot rods. Over 250 of them are made. Does that mean Winters diffs are now legal?
Yep.
Am I just generating arguments here? I mean, don't get me wrong, most of the Speedway New Zealand directors are at the World 240s or...
So they won't be listening to us,
They won't be listening to us, no.
So as the X-Factor cars comes to the infield, we'll get the tractor, get that car off. So we're 3/4 of a lap into this final heat. The car's just been brought to the infield. The red lights should go out very shortly. Huggies is facing the wrong way, won't take him long to turn around. And then we'll just have to see what he does for the rest of the race. The reds come in.
Ooh, he jumped down the far end there. We're green again. And it is Nathan Taylor that benefits out of all this. Rosemore running second on the track, back to Lamb, Smith, Teese. And I would say that it's going to be a good old battle. Jamie Bolton heading to the infield. Rondell, he has got the 15 car giving him some treatments. A couple of Christchurch cars attacking each other. You wouldn't write the script any other way around here. As Taylor's having a battle here with Rosemore. Rosemore's up the inside, so Rosemore's just got the foot down for points. And we've got the spun 15 car. He has a rejoin. So Rosemore, Taylor, Teese is back into that third spot. And he is we've got the pole. Rosemore collects the 44 car. 77th to the infield, so we're in the hands of Teese, back to Lamb. Didn't slow